this is not, in my view, about policing, because we don't want a police state. We don't know if you've been honest and truthful with the Contact Tracing Bureau. In some cases, we may be concerned. We're not going to take you into police cell, shine a light on you, and require you to give us all the answers and not let you sleep until you've given us the answers. That's not the world in which we live. But what you have to understand is that if somebody who is a relative or a friend of the person you've been in touch with dies, you'll have to live with that. You'll have to live with that, right? And if we lose the air bridge to London because our numbers go crazy, because we haven't been able to suppress the curve, don't blame the government because the air bridge has gone down. Realize that it's the people who aren't washing their hands, wearing their masks, keeping their social distance, giving the Contact Tracing Bureau the information. They are the ones who might have brought the air bridge down. They are the ones who might have brought the restrictions on bars or restaurants, etc., on any other part of our activity, because it's down to each and every one of us to do the things that we're being advised by the public health professionals to do to avoid just that eventuality.
You're ramping up testing. No doubt that'll require extra staffing of that particular department. Are you already prepared with that resourcing as well?
We're working on all of those issues to ensure that we're able to start this additional testing in days. That is a redeployment of people within the public sector. It's a retraining of some people, even in labs where you have different tests. You have to train in different ways to do that. Look, the results that Gibraltar is able to show in respect of the work that we're doing on testing, I've given you the numbers, not because we want to gloat. 500% more tests today than the United Kingdom per 100,000 head of population, 1,200 more tests per day on the 3rd of October, which is the last day on which they have statistics available, per 100,000 head of population than Spain. Not because we need to show off to say that we're doing more. We're a smaller population, of course we're doing more, but it also shows you that our numbers per 100,000 in terms of active cases have to be put in the context of our massive numbers per 100,000 head of population when it comes to testing, and you need to balance those two out. And it's important that the whole world get that message when they look at the numbers in Gibraltar. The numbers in Gibraltar are therefore more accurate and precise per active case for per 100,000 head of population than they probably are anywhere else in the world.
You talk about that air bridge with the UK, a lifeline for Gibraltar, no doubt. The UK will be updating their list later today, and there's already whispers that Gibraltar could be removed from that list, if not today, in the next few days. The government did fund, or did partly fund those flights, BA I believe it was. Does the government intend to do this if flights to Gibraltar cease?
So you've got to understand how this works. On Tuesday, there was an assessment made in the United Kingdom. On Thursday, there was an announcement made. If the air bridge were to now be subject to the requirement to quarantine, we'll have to see what decisions the airlines make, and the government will then have to consider how it acts. But look, we acted in a particular way in the spring and autumn when the whole world came to a standstill. It's very unlikely that we would act in that way now. Just to give you an idea, that cost in the region of £1.2 million a month. We can avoid that air bridge coming down by people following the rules and suppressing the curve and ensuring that we do what we're told. If people take off their masks willy-nilly, if they don't wash their hands, if they don't do the social distancing, if they break the rules and they don't help the Contact Tracing Bureau, when we do have to make a decision about paying £1.2 million a month, let's be clear, it's not because the government hasn't done its homework, it's because people have failed to act in keeping with the rules that homework led the government to impose. And this is about, therefore, personal responsibility and responsibility for the whole community as a result. And we have an obligation as Gibraltarians, as residents of Gibraltar, to be patriotic in the way that we act, not just in the way that we speak, and to ensure that we act to protect Gibraltar and to protect our fellow Gibraltarians and residents of Gibraltar.
Gibraltar's at the lifeline, the frontier. You've previously admitted to talking to Grande Marlaska, the Interior Minister in Spain. How fluid is that communication, and what guarantees you have with that border?
So the government of Gibraltar today has the ability to speak to senior politicians throughout the hierarchy of the regional and national governments of Spain, and to officials who are decision makers both at public health level and at the level of both the ministries of the interior and the exterior as may be necessary, and indeed also to officials in the Ministry of Health in Spain and in the relevant regional authorities. And if we have to have those exchanges, we're able to do so. At this stage, I don't envisage that there is anything which may happen in Spain which will have a direct impact on Gibraltar, which may be negative. And if you look at what happened last time, even during the period of national lockdown, the frontier fluidity was maintained, and those who came to work in Gibraltar were able to continue to do so. I would expect that will continue to be the case. I think there is an approach to the issue of COVID, even when it comes to the interface with Gibraltar, which is different to the approach that we may have seen in other areas. Indeed, that we see even now in the context of other areas. We've seen an entirely unacceptable incident in BGTW involving the Guardia Civil taking executive action less than 48 hours ago, which the Royal Gibraltar Police is investigating, and the government and the convent are looking into in great detail. But that doesn't stop us from being able to cooperate in these areas, and I think there's a good reason for that. The whole world, I think, realizes that COVID-19 is a game changer, and we have to cooperate and work together.